Hello, Pisces people. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a timeless Yuletide reading in store for you, inspired by these beautiful twigs and branches. I just collected them this morning to make my first ever Yule twig tree. So if I am successful after this reading at making that tree, I'll edit in some pictures. If there's no pictures edited in, I was not successful at it, but I'm excited about the first attempt. Regardless, these twigs have inspired the theme of this reading, which is going to be looking at this oak tree card, power, courage, and strength, with this wind card, change. So we're going to read about these two cards first, and then I'm going to pull from the Yuletide Tarot as well as the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle to get more information for you about these themes. The themes came to me because these branches and twigs come from some beloved oak trees behind my home. So I remember there was an oak tree card in the Green Witch Oracle. So that's one card that I pulled. And then it's been so windy here recently, and these branches and twigs just came off the ground. So in other words, I didn't cut any off. And it made me think then of this wind card, change, from the Sacred Medicine Oracle. And so once again, we're going to start this reading by reading from these two guidebooks about these cards, inspired by these beautiful branches and twigs. And then we'll get more information for you from the Yule Oracle and the Yuletide Oracle. Sound good? I hope so. So we'll begin with the oak tree card and read about that. So from the Green Witch Oracle, it says power, courage, and strength. The card meaning: the oak tree card is a popular symbol of strength. The wood is dense and durable, reliable and long-lasting. This tree symbolizes power and bravery, telling you that you can stand up to whatever storm is on the horizon. The mighty oak begins as a tiny acorn. It is reassuring to know that something so immense and strong started out as something that you can hold between your two fingers. Not only does this remind us that small things can yield huge results, it also reminds us that growing takes time. Rapid growth uses energy to reach a goal quickly. Slow growth uses energy to ensure stable, strong development. Wow, I love that so much. The oak tree card urges you to be brave and to stand tall. Reflection. Is there something you've been avoiding because of your fear of confrontation? All right. And then we'll move to the Sacred Medicine Oracle, card 21, Wind. The key word is change. The winds of change are blowing today. What changes are calling you that you have been resisting? This card comes forward to lead you in a new direction. You have been stagnant and stuck. You don't need to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. There are certain areas of your life where you are holding on tight. Release the need to control the outcome of your life and let the winds take you to new heights. You have an opportunity to free yourself of the past and to step into You have an opportunity to free yourself of the past and step into a more supported vision. Ooh, supported vision. I just love that. I'm going to read it one more time. You have an opportunity to free yourself of the past and step into a more supported vision. You are reminded to ask for the help that you are so worthy of receiving. The wind sweeps through to bring a huge release, and you are gifted wings to take flight and soar toward ease. The energy is quickening all around you. Time is speeding up. As you let go, you are able to move in a new direction faster than ever before. Allow this wind spirit to lift you up so that you may release all that is heavy and holding you back. Be free. Sacred ceremony. A force of nature, like an energetic tornado, swoops in and surrounds you in a sacred healing portal. Your ancestors guard and protect this space. You are safe. They hold their hands around this tornado, sending their medicine to help break you free of any chains or tethers that are holding you back. Immense warmth and unconditional love flood your body with the reminder that you are safe and all is well. It's okay for things to shift at this time. In fact, it's necessary. Healing affirmation. I allow the winds of change to carry me towards a new and aligned direction. Wow. That is so beautiful. So there's certainly almost like a paradox with these cards, isn't there? Because there is a, like this was all about kind of slow growth, and this is more about like activation, letting go some swooping change. And I sort of love that, because that's been my experience. That's kind of how change is, right? Like if it's not slow, it's not real. But at the same time, you know, there are times when like the time is right, right? And so there's kind of like that paradox with change and transformation that I'm feeling in this reading. And certainly the time for change is now. The Knight of Canes came out, so that's the Knight of Swords. More information for the viewer, please, at the time they find this video, on this idea of power, strength, courage, and change. Justice in reverse. Okay, one more, please, and then we'll pull one from the Yule Oracle, from the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. Okay, I guess we got a few more. The Ace of Good Cheer in reverse and the Ten of Gifts. Ooh, and bottom of the deck is the High Priestess. Wow. Okay, before we get into this overall energy, decoding the messages here, let's pull one card from the Yule Oracle. Oh, there it is. Wow. Silent Night came out. Card number 32. If by night the world should sleep, a sleep so deep the silence be deafening, there would be sound nothing at all. At all, nothing would sound. Wow, I love that. Okay, so give me a sec to get the cards so you can see them well. Okay, so first things first, I am incredibly drawn to like the parallels in this Wind card with the bottom of the deck, the High Priestess card. So I believe here we have the sun, here we have a full moon, and so there's definitely like illumination energy coming through. But I also think, you know, it was interesting with this Wind card in the like ceremony, she talked about like envisioning your ancestors, right? And so I think that's interesting because with the High Priestess, I think of like our higher self, right? So there's definitely like this higher wisdom energy that is wanting you to know it is with you and it is available to you, and however you perceive that. So whether you perceive that as your ancestors, or you call that energy God, or maybe Mother God or Goddess, whether you call that energy your future self or your higher self, I believe the name is irrelevant, but that higher wisdom is surrounding you. It is protecting you. It is available to you. And the more that you're willing to tap into it, I think the safer you're going to feel in the changes that you're wanting to make, and the more guidance you will receive, and not just like any sort of guidance, wise guidance. And I think it's really interesting here that we have the full moon, because to me, you know, it's just kind of like nodding to the moon card in the tarot. And P.S., the High Priestess card and the moon card in the tarot are both Pisces cards, okay? And with the moon card, there is this essence of mystery, this like essence of, you know, the mystery of life unfolding and needing to tap into our intuition in order to navigate that well. And so that kind of is lending itself, or what's the term, like leading to me being really intrigued by the Silent Night card, which is why I decided to put it at the center of your reading. And then look, we have this like illuminated star at the top of the tree. So we've got sun, moon, and star all showing up in this reading. Wow. That's really powerful, actually. Sun, moon, and star all showing up in a reading. You know, the sun is that, again, that illumination, and it is real, you know, often the sun is just like positivity, life force, right? The moon, there's also illumination to it, but it's more that intangible, intuitive, getting into the nooks and crannies and the corners of your life, figuring things out, figuring out who you are, and then being guided one step at a time through uncharted territory. And the star to me is this like beautiful symbol of healing and growth and wish fulfillment. So I'm just like, I didn't notice that at first. I'm just like loving that so much. Sun, moon, and star. So let's read about the Silent Night card, and then we'll decode what's going on here with the 4 Yuletide tarot cards. Okay. Keywords for the Silent Night card are meditation, peace, and stillness. It says you're being guided to pause, you're being guided to pause to reevaluate your situation. Now, well, so that's a little interesting because didn't it talk about that in the wind card a little bit, where there was like this energy of like it's potentially a new direction is required. So let's just take a breath on that. That's not always easy to hear. But a couple things. One is that doesn't have to mean it's like all black or white, like a completely different relationship is needed or a completely different business is needed. Sometimes it just means like a willingness to let go of what isn't working or a dynamic that isn't working. So it can be a bit more nuanced. You know, it doesn't have to be super black and white. But secondly, I think there's like very uplifting energy here. So if you're feeling like you've been stuck, although sometimes it can be hard to be like a new direction is needed, it also there can be relief in it, right? Because when things aren't working and we keep thinking we have to put more into the same to try to get them to work. And please excuse me, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at like me actually, / the human condition, where it's like, I've been there, I've been stuck in that, and still of course have seasons and moments where I do this. But because I've been there, because I have been willing to change directions many times in my life, I'm more apt to catch myself now. And there's this, I know this tendency in myself and in fellow humans where we make assumptions sometimes that how we're investing our time, money, and energy is the right investment. And by right, I just mean like of high wisdom. And so sometimes when we are investing our time and money and energy into something and it's not working, sometimes we like have this false thought that like if we just invest more, it will work. And to a certain extent, I think sometimes that is true. And I mean that the oak tree card kind of talked about that, right? Like change takes time. So there are moments and there are times in the healing journey and the creative journey where what we're being asked to do is persevere, right? And there are times when what we're being asked to do is release. Okay. And it seems like a big message from this reading is this idea of letting go of what isn't working. So it's more of a call to look through the lens of release. Okay. So if you've been in seasons of perseverance and things have not been working, this is an invitation to now shift your season, shift your focus, and think more in terms of what could I release in order to set myself free. And I guess as I'm speaking that out, that is the energy that these 4 tarot cards are giving me. Because we've got the Knight of Canes, the Knight of Swords, Justice in reverse, the Ace of Good Cheer in reverse. So what that's kind of telling me is like the Knight of Swords can kind of like come swooping in. There's like action being taken. And sometimes it can be thought of as like kind of like, well, it's a fast moving knight in the tarot. Okay. So there, it can be thought of if it's negatively aspected as kind of like impulsive, but that's not the energy I'm getting from it in this reading. The energy I'm getting from it in this reading is like this willingness to take action. And maybe, you know, the wind card, there was that kind of like swooping energy, right? I think that's like a similar energy I'm getting from the Knight of Canes here. So not impulsive, but like swooping. So, taking a full look at things and also, not just thinking about it, but actually taking action, because the knights in the tarot are action cards. Okay. And so there's this like, and the swords in the tarot are like thinking, boundaries, strategy, clear thinking, coherence. That's how I read it. So there's something in your life that, you know, and sorry, there's a lot coming to me. Let me see if I can make my words a little less messy. The swords in the tarot to me also are often about release because it's like cutting, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to mean like cutting, or hopefully it doesn't mean cutting in like a bad way where you're cutting somebody down, but it is like a cutting in terms of releasing yourself, okay? And so we've got like this Knight of Swords wanting to come in and help you release what is not working, frankly, because look at, we have Justice in reverse and the Ace of Good Cheer in reverse. That's the Ace of Cups. So there's something in your life, there are things in your life that could be dynamics, they could be people, they could be organizations, they could be habits, they could be projects, but that are not aligned with what is true, what is coherent, and they're preventing you from having the new emotional beginnings that you deserve. A renewal in your like joy, frankly. And not that like, I'm not somebody who thinks we're supposed to be living in this like perpetual state of joy. I think that's not the reality of being human, and is toxic positivity at its worst, right? But I do believe in healthy, joyful living. I believe in healthy, joyful living as the North Star, so to speak, the North Star. Yes, the North Star of how we make our choices, right? And I believe that when with wiser choices, we do live more healthy, joyful living, okay? And I think there's something here that is wanting you to look at it again through the lens of release, again through the lens of wisdom, through the lens of coherent. Is this wise? Is this coherent? Does this make sense? Is this leading to a renewal in my emotional capacity? Or is it cutting me down? Is it wearing me out? Is it draining me? Because once again, I think the main message of this reading is it's time to shift from the thought that you're in, like that perseverance is going to work, to the thought that release is what's going to help move you forward. Okay. And again, there are times I believe in life where perseverance is a really noble pursuit. It's the right time. It's necessary, right? But there are other times in life where release is necessary, right? And I think it's nuance, and that's why the High Priestess is probably at the bottom of the deck, because it's nuance. And the High Priestess is like this goddess of nuance, right? She is so wise that she understands the nuances of life. She doesn't toxic positivity over things. She doesn't think that always you should be persevering. She doesn't think that always you should be releasing. She thinks there are times when release is necessary, and there are times when perseverance is necessary. Again, this reading is asking you to now shift from perseverance to release, that you're going to find your breakthrough through release. And as I'm saying all this, I'm going to link up another video I have. It's not a Pisces specific video, but I think it still might relate to this because it's about the nuances of manifestation, how sometimes with manifesting what we want, what's required is initiation. It's like a leading in the dance sort of energy. And sometimes what's required is a following, a surrendering in the dance sort of energy. And so because this is kind of a similar vibe where we're talking about perseverance versus release and how, again, both are necessary, but it requires our intuition, it requires higher wisdom to understand what is necessary at a particular time. I think that same theme is, even though I use different words in that reading, I think that same idea is going to apply to this idea of release and perseverance. So I'll link that up in case any of this is resonating and you want just like a little more, conversation around this idea of the nuances of life. Because I do believe the wiser we become, the more we are willing and able to hold the complexities of life with care, hold the nuances of life with care. We're not looking for like one blanket statement to, explain everything or something like that, or one blanket principle or practice to explain everything. We understand that life is less about standards. It's more about seasons. And there's seasons to our healing, and there's seasons to our manifestation process, and there's seasons to our spiritual understanding and development. And clearly, once again, you are in a really beautiful season where your wish fulfillment is going to come. And I say wish fulfillment because of this star. So I don't mean to be like, well, also because of the 10 of gifts. But so I say it like, not like I say it in terms of what you believe you want, your goal achievement, your next step. So I don't necessarily mean that like everything tomorrow is gonna like manifest itself overnight. I mean it more as like, again, like the North Star wish fulfillment, that you're gonna move forward towards that through release. Through release. No longer is it going to be through perseverance, not in this season. Of course, that might come up in a different season again. Life is cyclical. And right now, you're definitely being called to release. And what are you being called to release? Again, what isn't working, what isn't easy to understand, what isn't coherent, right? What isn't in alignment with higher wisdom, with higher principles. And what are higher principles? To me, higher principles are that which is of Mother God and that which is of Mother Nature. Those are higher principles. And so anything that you feel like is like blocking your cup of good cheer, blocking just like renewal in your emotional beginnings, repairs, and just kind of like this overflow, satisfied. It doesn't even have to be overflow, I guess, just like a naturally, organically satisfied feeling. Whatever you feel is blocking that, if you're willing to release it, you're going to enter into a season that is so fortunate. We've got the 10 of gifts here showing up, which is not only like a beautiful abundance card, but it is really truly a legacy card. So it can be legacy, certainly in terms of abundance that you're passing down to future generations, but it's bigger than that to me. It often more means like the legacy of your character that you're passing down, whether you have children or not, the impact that you're having on the people around you now, and therefore how that ripples to other people and other times in life. So other generations, whether or not you have children. And so this is extremely powerful. And once again, you're really being asked to see that you are supported in this journey. There's higher wisdom present that wants you to know that it's protecting you in this process, and it is available to you the more you're willing to open up to it in whatever ways make sense to you. So whatever practices that you have to open up to more and more to your higher self and to higher wisdom. So let's finish reading about the Silent Night card. I'll start again. It says, you are being guided to pause to reevaluate your situation. Now is not the time to move forward with your plans just yet. And you may even find your goals coming to a complete standstill. Something isn't working, and you need this time to reassess your progress before moving forward. You may even need to release your situation altogether and consider a new path to your desires. Wow. So let's take a breath. That's summarizing everything we said. I think I'm just saying wow because of the coherence of the message coming through. Once again, this is a major call to see your progress forward through the lens of release, not perseverance. Okay, it goes on to say, Silent Night offers further guidance. Take this time to meditate and find inner peace. You could be stuck in old or repeating patterns that have created blind spots where your situation is concerned. Perhaps you are investing in a situation that has not repaid you for some time, or it may be that you've given more than you have to offer and it's time to cut your losses. Consider this pause a blessing and take this moment to shift your perspective. Wow. Well, I think that really sums it up, doesn't it? So I think I'm going to leave it at that. You're certainly not alone in this process. So whether this reading hit you, if it resonates, of course, if it does resonate, and whether it hit you in like a shocking way or it hit you with more of like relief, please know that you're just not alone in this process of having release, having it have to be part of your healing and manifestation process, and having it that sometimes be a relief and sometimes not. So you are definitely not alone in terms of others like myself having gone through this and continue to go through this, but you're also not alone in terms of your own spiritual support that is ready and willing to help you in whatever way, unique way that you are looking and need to be helped, need to be supported, to make these changes that lead, let's just finish off on this, that lead to this, which is this oak tree energy, power, right? Legacy energy. So this is important. This is big and this is important. And you've got this, and you're worthy of these changes that want to be made, and they certainly are going to ripple across time and space into more and more seasons, I believe, of satisfaction because of the healing work that you've been willing to do.